Hello everyone and welcome back to another Fam 2 Cents video. This is going to be part 2 of the last video that I made making the mac and cheese. As I said, for this dinner we had 3 items: mac and cheese, ribs, and baked beans. And I wanted to do a separate video for the mac and cheese and the ribs because they required special attention. So continuing on, we're going to do the ribs, and as you can see I'm starting off by removing the little membrane off the back of the ribs. Now this is fairly simple to do. You get a pretty sharp knife and start towards the end and cut as much skin off of the edge of the ribs as you can, and then you want to get a really dry either paper towel or dish rag or something like that, a clean one, so you can get a good grip on it and you can pull it all off, usually all off at once. As you can see, it can be kind of a struggle to get it off, but it shouldn't be that much of an issue once you have a good grip on there. So go ahead and get all of that off of there, and then you can start to season. So once again, we have another one of those situations where you're going to kind of use the seasonings at your own discretion. Everybody kind of has their different profiles based on whatever kind of ribs they're making, whether they be beef or pork, or if you like sweeter, you know, ribs or whatever, you're gonna season it to your liking. So if you have a special rub mix that you like to use, by all means use it. This is what I use, so if you want to replicate this recipe, that's totally fine. You can you know, look at the stuff that I have here, which is black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, seasoned salt, and cayenne pepper, and I also have some brown sugar to add to my kind of spice rub. So that's what I'm using. Like I said, if you want to replicate it, fine. If you want to do your own rub, that's totally fine. Completely up to you. Now we're going to start to distribute the seasoning or your rub on your ribs. I think now is a good time to mention that these videos are just me cooking for my family, and I know I'm showing you guys the process and what's going on, or at least trying my best to show you the process to the best of my ability, but these aren't meant to be kind of followed to the T, do exactly as I'm doing in this videos. These are just kind of laying down the groundwork, so if you'd like to make something similar to what I'm making, then you can. And I try, like I said, I try to make it followable for those people who really need it to be. But everything in these videos aren't law, so just keep that in mind for future references. With that being said, the distribution of the seasoning is going to be at your discretion based on how much you want on there, how, you know, the taste of it, or how seasoned you like it. Some people have certain situations where it's necessary for them to use less, or whatever. So like I said, whatever looks good to you, season it to the point to where you feel like it is sufficiently so, because I can't really tell you exactly how much you should put on there, because everybody's taste is different. So if you want to mimic exactly what I'm doing, or you want to do make your ribs look exactly the way that I made mine look, that's totally fine. But if you have your own way of doing it, you know, there's no need to go into the comment section and be like, ah, you did that wrong, I would have done it like this. Just do it like that. However it is you would have done it instead, just do it if you're gonna replicate this, because you know, like I said, this isn't law. This isn't me telling you how you should be doing it. It's just me showing you how I did it. So season at your discretion is basically what I'm trying to say here. Now, one important thing that I really wanted to mention in this video is, before, what I used to do is I would season my ribs and just toss them in the oven right from then. But what I found out, a good strategy in order to get some of that flavor to really sink into the meat, and to get a nice, really good flavor going on, as opposed to throwing it directly into the oven after you seasoning it, letting it sit at room temperature for about anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time you have or how much time you want to wait, is a really good way to get that seasoning to really seep into the meat. Like, it'll start to sweat, and the seasonings will start kind of seeping down into it. Gives it a little deeper flavor, or at least that's what I'm told. I can definitely tell somewhat of a difference from when I used to do that and when I didn't. So it's up to you guys. If you have the time to do that, then I would definitely recommend it. If not, it's totally fine. Toss them in the oven or smoker or on the grill or however you plan on cooking them, but these are going in the oven. So you might not have to worry about this part at all, but what I did here is I cut the ribs in half and baked them into 2 separate foil pouches that I used. The reason that I did that is because my oven is really small. It's kind of tiny. So if you have a sufficiently sized oven, you can get this in there no problem, then completely disregard this. But yeah, I had to cut them in half in order to put them in there because they would not fit without it. As you can see, the ribs are starting to sweat a little bit, which is just fine. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut these in half so I can wrap them up in their own little individual foil packets. One really important thing that I have to mention is make sure you get foil that's long enough. The foil I got is like really cheap foil that I just kind of had on hand. It was not made at all to accommodate a large kind of slab of meat like this. It just wasn't. My situation would have been much better if I had gotten that, but what ended up happening is I had to use the 3-layer method, where there's like 2 kind of pushed on the outside and 1 in the middle to stop it from dripping. Now this did not stop it from dripping, which caused some issues during the cooking process, but that, you know, that's a hazard of not having the proper materials that you need to do what you need to do. So make sure you have the proper foil. Don't be stupid like me. So this is a part of the video where I go in about 30 or 40 minutes in to check on the ribs here. I open up the pouch, and as you can see, I have the bones pointing up. The reason that I have that is because whenever you make ribs in the stove, in my experience, the bones really love to stick to the foil, and if they're facing down, some of the marrow comes out or whatever and it sticks to the foil, it is almost impossible to get off, and it sucks. So what I started to do is put the bone side up first, so you can check on it and everything's good, and then part way through, once it starts to cook properly on the meat side, you can flip it over for like the last 30 minutes or so, and you'll have a lot less issue with it sticking, because that it becomes a serious kind of problem, and it kind of throws a monkey wrench into your whole operation, and you don't want to have to deal with that, trust me. Alright guys, at this point I have already flipped over the ribs. They have cooked pretty much to my liking, and they're basically almost done. I flipped it over and put the bone side down now, because like I said, you don't want to do that starting off because they'll stick and you'll have a huge issue. So you flip them over now, slather a little barbecue sauce on them, and allow them to cook in the open heat for just a little bit, and this makes them nice and tender. They not quite fall off the bone, but almost there. Now if you want them to be more fall off the bone, you can leave them in the foil, like rewrap it back up, and they will get to the point to where you can just pull the bones out of them. Some people don't like it that way, some people do. I like a healthy medium, but like I said, just put the barbecue sauce on there and just kind of spread that around and allow that cook in the open heat. I kind of wish I would have taken a better money shot for these ribs afterwards, but I didn't really have the time. I had some prior engagements I had to get to, and I was really working against the clock. So when I was done, Squishy, like, she dived right in because dinner's done, it's time to eat. So I didn't really get a good shot of the ribs afterwards, which is a bit unfortunate, but I just need to plan better for those type of things so I can make sure that I can do what I need to do. With that said, though, here it is. These are the finished product. As I said, I wish I could have gotten a better picture, but I was very pressed for time while I was making this. So it is what it is. I'll probably be making these again sometime down the road, but grilling them instead. Now, notice I said grilling instead of barbecuing, because I know that annoys some people. But yeah, I'll be barbecuing those at some point, and I also tend to do those in foil too. I'll show you guys how I do that sometime later down the line. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button and share it, definitely, because the nation is growing very quickly, and I'm very glad to see all these people coming in and checking out my videos. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are enjoying them. My home cooking, like I said, I'm not a chef, not the greatest cook in the world, and I make lots of mistakes and all that stuff, but it's just nice to share my love of food with you guys. So show me some love by leaving me a comment or hitting that like button, or just sharing it with any other foodies that you know, and that's the best you can do for me. I would be eternally grateful. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.